You are going to get everything you ever wanted. The promotion, the salary, the house, the car, and it is not going to matter. Not the way you think it will. There is a psychological mechanism hardwired into your brain that will steal every single ounce of joy you expect to feel from those things. And the worst part, you have been told about it for decades, and you still do not believe it. Think about this. Really think about it. If you won the lottery tomorrow, $100 million, how happy would you be in 2 years? Go ahead, picture it. The freedom, the security, the ability to do anything. Now here's the uncomfortable question. Would you actually be happier than you are right now, or would you just be a richer version of the same person complaining about different things? In 1978, a psychologist named Philip Brickman did something brilliant. He tracked down 22 people who had won the lottery and 29 people who had become paraplegic in accidents. He asked them all the same question. How happy are you? And the results broke every assumption we have about happiness. The lottery winners were not significantly happier than a control group of regular people. And the paraplegics, while initially devastated, reported being only slightly less happy than everyone else. They even expected to return to their previous happiness levels within a couple of years. Brickman and his colleague Donald Campbell called this the hedonic treadmill. And the metaphor is perfect. Imagine you are on a treadmill. You walk faster, you walk harder, you sweat and strain and push yourself to exhaustion. But when you step off, you are in the exact same place you started. That is what your brain does with happiness. You chase the next thing, the next milestone, the next achievement, and your brain just keeps the treadmill running underneath you. Okay, the core idea is this. Every human being has what researchers call a happiness set point, a baseline level of happiness that your brain returns to no matter what happens to you. Win the lottery, you spike up, then come back down. Get paralyzed, you crash, then climb back up. Get married, get divorced, get fired, get promoted. Your happiness wobbles for a while, but it always gravitates back to that set point. It is like a thermostat for your emotional life. So, how does this actually work in your brain? Researchers Frederick and Lowenstein identified 3 distinct processes. First, shifting adaptation levels. You get a raise, you feel great for a month, then that new salary becomes normal, but you still feel a bump from a bonus on top of it. Second, desensitization. You become less sensitive to things you are exposed to constantly. People living in war zones become desensitized to destruction that would horrify the rest of us. Third, sensitization. This is the opposite. Continuous exposure can actually increase your response. Wine connoisseurs get more pleasure from tasting than casual drinkers. Your brain is constantly recalibrating what counts as normal. Let me make this personal. Remember when you got your first car, or your current car? Remember that first week? You were so proud you probably texted your friends photos of it. You noticed every little detail, the smell, the way the seats felt, the way it handled on a curve. Now, it is a machine that gets you to work. You do not even remember parking it this morning. That car did not change. Your brain changed. It adapted. And this is not a metaphor. This is a measurable neurological process. And this is where it gets dangerous, because we do not just adapt to cars, we adapt to careers. You get the promotion, you feel incredible for a few weeks, then it becomes your new normal, and now you need the next promotion, and the next, and the next. You are climbing a ladder that is sitting on a treadmill. You are moving, but you are not going anywhere. The goalposts do not just move, they sprint. Data backs this up across every major life event. Lucas and his colleagues tracked thousands of people over years. They found that after marriage, happiness spikes, then returns to baseline. After divorce, happiness drops, then returns to baseline. After the birth of a first child, same pattern. After losing a job, same pattern. People adapt, almost every time. The only exceptions, men did not fully return to baseline after marriage, and men did not fully return to baseline after layoffs. But for most major life events, the treadmill wins. Here is one that might surprise you. Researchers studied the effects of imprisonment on happiness. Being in prison crushes your well-being, obviously. But here's the thing. Once people were released, they bounced back to their previous happiness levels. The prison changed their circumstances permanently, but it did not permanently change their happiness. Their brains adapted, even to freedom, even to having their life back. In 1982, researcher Silver followed accident victims with severe spinal cord injuries for 8 weeks. 1 week after their accidents, these people were in deep distress, overwhelmingly negative emotions. But by week 8, their positive emotions had overtaken their negative ones. 8 weeks. These were people who would never walk again, and their brains were already pulling them back toward their baseline. This is not resilience in the inspirational poster sense. This is your brain doing what it evolved to do. So where does your set point come from? Like and Intelligent followed over 1,000 sets of twins for 10 years. Their conclusion was staggering. Almost 50% of your happiness level is determined by genetics, not your circumstances, not your achievements, your DNA. You were essentially born with a happiness range, and everything you do in life is just bouncing around inside it. And it is not just raw genetics. Your personality traits shape how you experience every event in your life. Neuroticism, extroversion, openness to experience. These stable traits act as a filter. A highly neurotic person will experience the same promotion differently than a highly extroverted one. Your personality does not just influence your happiness. It influences how much every single event in your life affects your happiness. Now, Fujita and Diener tracked over 3,000 German residents for 17 years, asking them to rate their life satisfaction every year. What they found was that for most people, life satisfaction stays within a pretty narrow range. They called it a soft baseline. But, and this is important, about 25% of people did show significant shifts in their set point over time. 9% had major changes. So the set point is not a prison. It is more like a gravitational field. You can move around within it. It takes a lot of force to escape it, but it is not impossible. Here's where it gets really interesting. Researcher Hedy found that the type of goals you pursue actually matters. He divided goals into two categories. Zero-sum goals, things like career success, wealth, and social status. And non-zero-sum goals, things like family relationships, community involvement, and altruism. The results were brutal. Pursuing zero-sum goals had a small but statistically significant negative impact on your overall well-being. Even though having more money did help a little, the act of chasing status and wealth was actively making people less happy. Think about that for a second. The thing our entire society tells you to do, climb the ladder, make more money, achieve more status, is actually correlated with being less happy. Not because money is evil, but because the pursuit of status is a zero-sum game. If you get a promotion, someone else did not. If you buy a bigger house, you are implicitly saying your old one was not enough. Status is relative. And relative means there is always someone above you. There is a concept social theorist Greg Easterbrook calls abundance denial. It is the tendency of humans to construct elaborate rationales for considering themselves deprived. You make six figures but feel broke because your neighbor makes seven. You drive a nice car but feel poor because your colleague drives a better one. You have a good life but feel like you are falling behind because social media shows you 10 people who appear to have a better one. Your brain is not designed to appreciate what you have. It is designed to notice what you are missing. And this is compounded by something called negativity bias. Negative emotions are stickier than positive ones. You will remember one criticism and forget 10 compliments. You will dwell on one failure and ignore 100 successes. Negative events require more attention and are remembered better. This means your brain is literally wired to overshadow positive experiences with negative ones. The treadmill is not neutral. It has a slight downward pull. Now, Hedy also found something that challenges the treadmill theory. Disability. Severe chronic disability. This was the single largest factor affecting subjective well-being in his research. Almost twice as impactful as neuroticism, the second strongest factor. And unlike lottery wins or promotions, people with permanent disabilities did not fully return to their baseline. Some adaptation happened, but the set point itself appeared to shift. This suggests the treadmill is not absolute. Some events are too large, too permanent, too life-altering to fully adapt to. There is another exception. Drug addiction. Researchers Ahmed and Koob showed that sustained drug use can actually change your hedonic set point. Cocaine and other substances cause neurochemical adaptations where you need more of the drug to feel the same pleasure. Your baseline literally shifts downward. This is the hedonic treadmill in reverse. Instead of returning to baseline, the baseline itself moves. And it does not move in a good direction. Now, not everyone agrees with the strong version of the set point theory. Sosis argued that the twin studies might be flawed. Identical twins raised apart are not necessarily raised in very different environments, and twins who look alike often get similar reactions from the world. So the similarity in their happiness might not be purely genetic. It might be that similar people in similar situations end up similarly happy. The debate is still ongoing. Diener, Lucas, and Scollin published a major review in 2006 that revised the original treadmill theory. They argued that people are not hedonically neutral. We are not all returning to the same flat baseline. Individuals have different set points, partially heritable. Some people have a naturally higher baseline than others, and some people have more than one set point. Life satisfaction and subjective well-being can operate on different tracks. The picture is more complicated than Brickman originally suggested. So, let me paint you the full picture. You are born with a genetic happiness range. Your personality shapes how you experience events. You chase goals, and your brain adapts to every achievement. You compare yourself to others and feel deprived despite having more than most humans in history. Negative experiences stick with you longer than positive ones. And the goals our culture pushes hardest, wealth, status, career dominance, are the exact goals most correlated with lower well-being. This is not a glitch. This is the system working exactly as designed. Okay, so if the treadmill is real, if adaptation is inevitable, if 50% of your happiness is genetic, and if chasing status makes you less happy, what do you actually do? Do you just give up, lie on a couch, and accept mediocrity? No, that is not the answer. The answer is much more interesting and much harder than that. Hedy found that non-zero-sum goals, goals that enrich your relationships and your community, actually increase well-being. Family-oriented goals, altruistic goals, goals where your gain does not require someone else's loss. These are the goals that break the treadmill. Not because they prevent adaptation, but because they engage different psychological systems. Connection, purpose, contribution. These do not adapt the way material goods do. One of the most well-supported interventions in positive psychology is gratitude practice. And it makes perfect sense in the context of the treadmill. Your brain adapts to what you focus on. If you focus on what you lack, you will always feel deprived. If you focus on what you have, you slow down the adaptation process. You cannot stop the treadmill, but you can make it work for you instead of against you. Gratitude is not toxic positivity. It is a deliberate recalibration of your attention. Here's another insight from the research. Because adaptation is about habituation, variety slows it down. One large positive event, like buying a car, adapts quickly, but many small positive experiences spread out over time resist adaptation better. 100 small joys beat one big joy. A varied life beats an intense life. This is why experiences tend to make people more happy than possessions. Experiences are harder to adapt to because they are diverse and unrepeatable. You need to go on a comparison diet. Seriously. Social media is a comparison engine. It is designed to show you people who have more, look better, and seem happier than you. And every time you scroll through it, you are feeding your brain exactly the input that triggers abundance denial. You do not need to delete everything, but you need to be aware that every comparison is a tiny hit against your well-being. Your brain was not built to compare yourself to 8 billion people. This is the big one. You need to redefine what success means, not because ambition is bad, but because the standard definition of success in our culture is literally designed to make you unhappy. More money, more status, more stuff. These are treadmill goals. They keep you running. They never let you arrive. What if success meant having deep relationships? What if it meant doing work that matters to you? What if it meant having enough free time to actually enjoy your life? These are not lazy goals. These are the goals that the research says actually work. Now, there is a school of thought that says we should just engineer our way out of the treadmill. Transhumanist philosophers like David Pearce argue that future technology could eliminate suffering entirely. Genetic engineering to raise our hedonic set point. Designer drugs for sustainable well-being. Direct brain stimulation. Pearce has literally predicted that the world's last unpleasant experience will be a dateable event. Whether that is utopian or dystopian is a conversation for another day. And here is something fascinating. Your hippocampus, a brain region involved in mood and memory, can actually affect your hedonic set point. A smaller hippocampus is linked to depression, but certain activities can grow your hippocampus. Exercise, learning, novel experiences. Your brain is not fixed. It is plastic. The set point is not a number carved in stone. It is a living, breathing system that responds to what you do. Hedy found that the single most important non-genetic factor in well-being was internal locus of control. People who believe they have agency over their own lives are significantly happier than people who feel controlled by external circumstances. This is not about positive thinking. It is about actually taking responsibility for the things you can control and letting go of the things you cannot. The treadmill is real, but you are not powerless on it. Here's the paradox. The research on hedonic adaptation is not depressing. It is liberating. If winning the lottery will not make you permanently happy, then losing your job will not make you permanently miserable. If getting paralyzed does not destroy your happiness forever, then not getting that promotion is not the catastrophe you think it is. The treadmill cuts both ways. It protects you from permanent despair just as much as it prevents permanent bliss. Remember those lottery winners from Brickman's study? They were not unhappy. They were just not significantly happier than everyone else. They still had good days and bad days. They still had problems. They still had relationships that were complicated and jobs that were boring and mornings where they did not want to get out of bed. Winning the lottery did not fix being human. Nothing fixes being human. That is the point. So the goal is not to be happy all the time. The goal is to stop believing that the next achievement will make you happy all the time. The goal is to stop running on the treadmill thinking it will eventually take you somewhere. The goal is to step off, not to stop moving, but to move for different reasons, to build things that matter, to connect with people deeply, to experience life fully, to stop measuring your worth by your output. Let me be clear about what the research does and does not say. It does not say that circumstances do not matter. They do. Poverty is bad, disability is hard, unemployment is stressful. The research says that the emotional impact of these circumstances is smaller than you expect and shorter than you expect. It does not say you should not strive for improvement. It says that improvement will not transform you into a different person. You will still be you, just with more stuff. If you are grinding 80 hours a week because you think the next level of success will finally let you relax and enjoy life, the research says you are wrong. You will not relax, you will not enjoy it, you will adapt, and then you will need the next level, and the next. Treadmill does not stop when you arrive. It stops when you choose to stop running. Your career is something you do. It is not something you are. And if you are buying things to fill a void, the research says that void has no bottom. You will adapt to the new car. You will adapt to the new house. You will adapt to the new phone. The joy is in the novelty, not the possession. And novelty fades every single time. This does not mean you should live in poverty. It means you should stop expecting material goods to do a job they were never designed to do. Here's what I want you to take away from all of this. You have permission to stop. You have permission to want enough. You have permission to define success on your own terms. You have permission to spend time with people you love instead of chasing the next rung. You have permission to enjoy what you have right now instead of obsessing over what you do not. The hedonic treadmill is not your enemy. It is just a fact. And facts do not care about your 5-year plan. Brickman published his study in 1978, almost 50 years ago, and in the decades since, every major finding has been replicated and extended. The treadmill is real, the set point is real, the adaptation is real, and yet, somehow, we all still act like the next thing will be the thing. Maybe that is the most human thing about us, not the adaptation, but the refusal to believe it will happen to us. Let me ask you the same question I asked at the beginning. If you got everything you ever wanted tomorrow, how happy would you be in 2 years? Now you know the answer. You would be about as happy as you are right now. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but roughly the same. The same person, the same baseline, the same treadmill. The only question that matters is whether you are going to keep running on it or whether you are going to start walking in a direction that actually means something to you.